Dr. Alan Carter rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the computer screen again. He had been working at the Deep Space Communications Center in Nevada for 12 years and had never seen anything like this. The green lines on his monitor showed a pattern that made his heart beat faster. This was not random noise from space. This was something intelligent. Alan called his friend Dr. Nina Brooks, who worked in the next room. Nina was the best language expert they had, and she could figure out patterns in any kind of communication. When she saw the screen, her face went pale. "This is real," Nina said quietly. "Someone is trying to talk to us." They called Dr. Kevin Hayes from the physics department. Kevin was smart with numbers and space science. When the three scientists looked at the data together, they realized something amazing and scary. The signal was coming from Proxima Centauri, which was the closest star system to Earth. Someone lived there, and they were sending Earth a message. For the next 6 hours, the team worked to decode the signal. The aliens had been smart about how they sent it. They used math and physics that any smart civilization would understand. They showed pictures using numbers. They explained their language, bit by bit, like teaching a child to read dot when they finally understood the message. Alan wished they had never received it. The aliens called themselves the Zorathy Collective. They said they were a group of 12 different alien species who had been watching Earth for a long time. They had seen humans build rockets and travel to other planets. They had watched humans fight wars and make peace. They had decided that humans were dangerous. The message was polite, but the meaning was clear. The Zorathy wanted humans to stay in the solar system forever. They said humans could live on Earth and Mars and the other planets around the sun, but they could never travel to other stars. If humans agreed to this, the Zorathy would help them with technology and knowledge. If humans refused, the Zorathy would use force to stop them. The aliens gave Earth exactly 1 year to answer. They wanted a message back saying that humans accepted their offer. If no message came, or if humans refused, the Zorathy would come to Earth and make humans obey. Nina translated every word carefully. The Zorathy thought they were being kind. They believed they were protecting the galaxy from dangerous humans. They had done this before with other young civilizations. Some aliens had accepted the deal and lived peacefully under Zorathy protection. Others had refused and been destroyed. Alan sent the decoded message to his boss, who sent it to her boss, who sent it to the government. Within hours, the most important people on Earth were reading about the Zorathy ultimatum. President Helen Murphy called an emergency meeting with all the world leaders. Admiral Lisa Kane, who ran Earth's Space Defense Forces, flew to Washington. Immediately. The meeting lasted 3 days. Some leaders wanted to accept the Zorathy offer. They said humans were not ready to fight advanced aliens. Better to live safely in the solar system than to risk extinction. Other leaders were angry. They said no aliens had the right to tell humans where they could go. Earth belonged to humans, and humans would decide their own future. Admiral Kane listened to all the arguments, then spoke. She said the message from the Zorathy was not really an offer. It was a demand disguised as kindness. The aliens had already decided humans were dangerous without even talking to them. They wanted to put Earth in a cage and throw away the key. "They think we will be grateful for their protection," Kane said. "They think we will thank them for letting us live in our own solar system. They are wrong about what humans are like, President." Murphy asked what Kane recommended. The Admiral smiled and said humans should send the Zorathy a message they would never forget. Not a message made of words, but a message made of actions. She explained her plan, and the room went quiet. Some officials thought the plan was too risky. Others thought it was not strong enough. But everyone agreed on one thing. Humans would not bow down to alien masters, no matter how powerful they seemed. Earth had fought for freedom before and won. Now they would fight for freedom among the stars. the president made the final decision. Earth would not send a message of acceptance or refusal. Instead, they would send something the Zorathi had never seen before. They would send a fleet of human warships to Proxima Centauri. The aliens wanted to meet humanity. Soon they would get their wish. Admiral Kane left the meeting with orders to prepare the largest space fleet in human history. The Zorathi had sent Earth a message demanding surrender. Earth's answer would be written in starships and courage. The aliens would learn that humans did not make good slaves or pets. They made dangerous enemies and valuable friends, but they would never make obedient subjects. In 1 year, the Zorathi would get their answer. 6 months after the Zorathi message arrived, Admiral Kane stood in the command center of Luna Base, watching the biggest construction project in human history. The moon's orbit was filled with shipyards working day and night. Sparks flew from welding torches as workers built the fleet that would carry Earth's message to the stars. Captain Jack Morrison walked onto the bridge of his new ship for the first time. The USS Liberty was the largest warship humans had ever built. It was 3 times bigger than any other ship in Earth's fleet and packed with weapons that had never been tested in real combat. Morrison had commanded smaller ships before, but nothing like this monster. The Liberty was not alone. All around Luna Base, other ships were taking shape. Commander Sarah Williams tested her new stealth ship called the Shadowhawk. It was small and fast and could hide from enemy sensors better than any ship ever built. Colonel Pete Barnes trained his Marines on ships designed to carry soldiers into battle on alien worlds. Dr. Emma Rodriguez worked in the weapons labs, creating new ways to fight. Her team had built quantum torpedoes that could punch through any armor. They had made shield generators that could adapt to different kinds of attacks. Most important, they had perfected the jump drive technology that would let human ships travel between stars in days instead of years. The jump drive was humanity's biggest secret. Scientists had been working on it for 30 years, but had never told anyone outside Earth about it. The Zorathi thought humans were stuck with slow chemical rockets. They had no idea that human ships could appear anywhere in the galaxy almost instantly. Every day more ships joined the fleet. Heavy battleships bristling with guns. Fast destroyers that could hit and run. Stealth scouts that could spy on enemy positions. Huge carriers loaded with fighter planes designed for space combat. Each ship was crewed by volunteers who knew they might never see Earth again. Captain Morrison met with the other ship commanders every morning to plan their mission. Commander Williams explained how her scouts would gather information about Zorathi defenses. Colonel Barnes showed them how his Marines would board enemy ships if needed. Dr. Rodriguez taught them about the new weapons and how to use them. The plan was simple but dangerous. The human fleet would jump directly into the Proxima Centauri system and appear right in front of the Zorathi forces. This would show the aliens that humans could strike anywhere without warning. Then Captain Morrison would deliver Earth's message. Admiral Kane visited the fleet 2 weeks before departure. She walked through every ship and talked to every crew member. She told them they were not just soldiers, but ambassadors. Their job was to show the Zorathi what humans were really like. Not the dangerous savages the aliens expected, but brave people who would fight for their freedom. The Zorathi think they know us, Kane said. They have watched us from far away and decided we are too violent to be trusted. They think we will thank them for protecting us from ourselves. They are about to learn how wrong they are. Kane explained that the mission was not about destroying the Zorathi. It was about earning their respect. Humans wanted to explore the galaxy and meet other civilizations. They could not do that if every alien species saw them as dangerous children who needed to be controlled. Captain Morrison received his final orders from Kane in her private office. The Admiral handed him a sealed message that contained Earth's official response to the Zorathi ultimatum. Morrison was not allowed to read it until he reached Proxima Centauri, but Kane told him what it said. "We thank the Zorathi for their message." Kane said, "We acknowledge them as neighbors, but not as masters. Humans will continue to explore space and meet other civilizations. Any attempt to stop us will be met with appropriate force. We hope the Zorathi will choose friendship over conflict." Morrison understood. Earth was not starting a war, but was making it clear that humans would fight if forced to. The fleet would be proof that humans had the technology and courage to defend themselves. The Zorathi could choose to respect that, or learn about it the hard way. The night before departure, Morrison stood on the Liberty's bridge and looked out at the fleet. 57 ships filled with the best technology and bravest people Earth could provide. In a few hours, they would jump across space to meet an alien civilization that wanted to cage humanity forever. Morrison thought about his home planet spinning blue and green in the darkness behind him. Earth had sent explorers across dangerous oceans to find new lands. It had sent astronauts to the moon and Mars to prove humans could live among the stars. Now it was sending warriors to defend the right to keep exploring. The jump drives powered up with a low humming sound. Navigation computers locked onto the Proxima Centauri system. Weapons systems came online and shields activated. The fleet was ready to deliver Earth's message. Morrison gave the order, and space twisted around them. The stars changed, and suddenly they were no longer in Earth's solar system. They had arrived at Proxima Centauri in less time than it took to fly from New York to London. The Zorathi were about to get a very big surprise. On every ship human crews, prepared for whatever came next. They had traveled farther from home than any human before them. They carried with them the hopes and dreams of their entire species. The aliens had demanded an answer, and now they would get one. The human fleet appeared in Proxima Centauri space, like ghosts materializing from nothing. Captain Morrison watched his tactical display light up with contacts as the Liberty sensors found the Zorathi forces. What he saw made him smile grimly. The aliens had been waiting for a human response, but they had been looking in the wrong direction. The Zorathi had positioned their defensive fleet near the edge of the star system, expecting any human ships to arrive slowly from deep space using CONVENTION engines. Instead, the human fleet had jumped directly into the inner system, only a few million kilometers from the main Zorathi base. The aliens were caught completely unprepared. Commander Williams launched her reconnaissance missions. Immediately, the Shadowhawk and other stealth ships spread out to map the alien infrastructure while staying invisible to Zorathi sensors. What they found was impressive, but not overwhelming. The Zorathi had built massive orbital stations around the planets and asteroid mining operations throughout the system. Their technology was clearly advanced, but it followed predictable patterns that human engineers could analyze. Admiral Kethver commanded the Zorathi forces from his flagship Infinite Wisdom. He was a veteran of many first contact situations and had never seen anything like this. The humans had appeared instantly in the heart of Zorathi space using technology that should not exist. His sensors showed only 57 human ships, but they had somehow crossed interstellar space faster than light itself. Kethver opened a communication channel to the human fleet. His translator computers had been programmed with human languages from decades of observation. When his image appeared on Morrison's screen, the human captain saw a tall figure with gray skin and large dark eyes. The alien looked shocked and angry. "Human vessels, this is Admiral Kethver of the Zorathi Collective," the alien said. "You have entered our territory without permission. Your presence here is an act of aggression that violates all civilized protocols. Explain yourselves immediately." Dr. Rodriguez, who had studied the alien language patterns during the long months of preparation, served as Morrison's translator. She made sure every word was understood perfectly by both sides. Morrison stood calmly on his bridge and looked directly at the alien admiral. "Admiral Kethvar, this is Captain Morrison of the Earth Defense Fleet," he replied. "We received your message and have come to deliver our response in person. Earth acknowledges the Zorathi as neighbors, but we do not accept your authority over human space travel. We will continue to explore the galaxy as free people." The alien admiral's face showed confusion and anger. He had expected the humans to arrive as supplicants begging for mercy, or as primitives who could be easily intimidated. Instead, they spoke as equals demanding respect. This was not how first contact was supposed to work. "Captain Morrison, you do not understand the situation," Kethvar said. "The Zorathi Collective has maintained peace in this region of space for thousands of years. We have guided 17 emerging civilizations to prosperity and safety. Your species shows dangerous tendencies that must be controlled before you. Harm yourselves and others." Morrison's response was calm but firm. "Admiral, we appreciate your concern, but humans will decide their own destiny. We did not cross the stars to accept limitations. We came to show you that Earth is ready to take its place among the civilized species of the galaxy." The conversation continued for an hour, with neither side giving ground. The Zorathi could not understand why the humans refused their generous offer of protection. The humans could not accept being treated like dangerous children who needed alien supervision. Finally, Kethvar lost patience and issued an ultimatum. "Captain Morrison, you will order your ships to surrender and accept Zorathi guidance, or we will use force to disable them," the alien said. "You are outnumbered 10 to 1, and your primitive technology cannot match our advanced systems." Morrison smiled and nodded to Commander Williams. The Shadowhawk had been circling behind the Zorathi flagship while staying completely invisible to their sensors. Suddenly, the stealth ship appeared directly above the Infinite Wisdom, close enough to ram it. The alien crew panicked as alarms rang throughout their ship. "Admiral Kethvar, this is Commander Williams of the Shadowhawk, Saras." Voice came over the communication channel. "I am currently in position to board your ship or disable your engines. My Marines are ready to demonstrate human boarding techniques if you wish." The alien admiral stared at his screens in shock. His advanced sensors had detected nothing until the human ship revealed itself. If one small human vessel could penetrate his defenses so easily, what could the entire fleet do? He began to realize that the humans might not be as primitive as the Zorathi had assumed. Morrison pressed his advantage. "Admiral, we did not come here to fight, but we are prepared to defend ourselves. Our technology may be different from yours, but it is not inferior. Perhaps we should discuss this situation as equals instead of as teacher and student." Kethvar tried to regain control by ordering his electronic warfare systems to jam human communications and disable their ships. The Zorathi had used these tactics successfully against other species for centuries. Instead of shutting down, the human fleet began adapting to the alien systems in real time. Dr. Rodriguez had prepared for this moment. Her cyber warfare teams turned the Zorathi jamming signals back against them and briefly took control of several alien ships. For 10 minutes, human operators had access to Zorathi navigation computers and weapon systems before the aliens regained control. The demonstration was complete. The Zorathi had tried their best tactics against the human fleet and failed. The humans had shown they could penetrate alien defenses, strike without warning, and turn enemy technology against them. Kethvar realized he was not dealing with primitive savages, but with a genuinely dangerous opponent. "Captain Morrison," the alien admiral said slowly, "perhaps we should discuss this matter more carefully. The collective may have underestimated human capabilities." Morrison nodded respectfully. "Admiral, we would welcome the chance to explain our position. Humans seek friendship with other species, but we will not accept domination. We hope the Zorathi can understand that. The tense standoff between human and Zorathi forces lasted for 3 hours, while Admiral Kethvar consulted with his superiors across the collective. Morrison kept his fleet in a defensive formation, but ready to fight if attacked. The alien admiral was clearly frustrated by his inability to intimidate or overwhelm the human ships with technology, that finally Kethvar made a decision that would change everything. If he could not defeat the humans with superior technology, then he would crush them with overwhelming numbers. He activated emergency beacons throughout Zorathi space, calling every available warship to Proxima Centauri. Within minutes, jump gates across the system began opening as reinforcements arrived. Morrison watched his tactical display fill with red dots as more Zorathi ships appeared. First dozens, then hundreds of alien vessels surrounded the small human fleet. The aliens had ships of every size, from small fighters to massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed even the Liberty. When the reinforcements stopped arriving, Morrison counted over 300 enemy ships against his 57. Captain Morrison, Kethvar's voice came over the communication system. You can see that resistance is futile. Surrender now, and your crews will be treated with respect. Continue to resist, and we will disable your ships and take you prisoner. You have 1 minute to decide. Morrison looked around his bridge at his officers. Commander Williams monitored her stealth ships, positioned throughout the battle area. Colonel Barnes prepared his Marines for boarding actions. D.R. Rodriguez coordinated the cyber warfare systems that had already proven effective against Zorathi technology. Everyone was ready. Admiral Kethvar, Morrison replied, humans do not surrender when fighting for their freedom. If you want to test your numbers against our technology, then begin whenever you are ready. The battle began when Zorathi fighters swung toward the human fleet, expecting to overwhelm the smaller ships with speed and numbers. Instead, they found themselves flying into carefully planned kill zones where human point defense systems cut them down by the dozens. The alien pilots had been trained to fight enemies who used similar tactics, but humans fought differently, thought Captain Lisa. Park commanded the destroyer USS Defiance and quickly showed the aliens what human innovation looked like. When Zorathi heavy cruisers tried to use their gravity weapons to crush her ship, Park reversed the polarity of her own gravity generators. The alien weapons turned against their own ships, pulling two Zorathi vessels into collision. Colonel Barnes led precision boarding parties that struck at key enemy ships. His Marines used small, fast assault craft to penetrate Zorathi defenses and capture critical systems. The aliens had never faced enemies who could board their ships in the middle of battle and turn captured technology against them immediately. Commander Williams used the Shadowhawk to plant quantum charges on Zorathi command ships. She did not detonate them, but used them to show the aliens that human forces could strike anywhere at any time. Every few minutes another Zorathi ship would find itself marked with human explosives, while its crew wondered how the charges had gotten there. Dr. Rodriguez coordinated the most devastating attacks of all. Her cyber warfare teams had studied Zorathi computer systems during the initial standoff and learned how to exploit their weaknesses. Human hackers took control of alien weapons, turning Zorathi ships against each other in the confusion of battle. Aliens had expected to win through superior numbers and firepower, but found themselves fighting an enemy that adapted faster than they could react. Human ships appeared where sensors said nothing existed. Human weapons behaved in ways that violated Zorathi understanding of physics. Human tactics changed constantly, making it impossible for alien commanders to predict what would happen next. Admiral Kethvar watched in growing horror as his massive fleet took heavy losses while barely scratching the human forces. The small human fleet moved through his formations like sharks among fish, striking hard and disappearing before his ships could respond. Every time he thought he understood human tactics, they changed and surprised him again. The turning point came when Colonel Barnes' Marines captured the heavy cruiser Eternal Guardian. The Zorathi crew surrendered when human soldiers appeared on their bridge, having somehow penetrated multiple layers of security. Barnes did not destroy the ship, but instead turned its weapons against other Zorathi vessels while broadcasting surrender demands on all frequencies. Other Zorathi captains began to panic as they realized humans could board and capture their ships at will. Several alien commanders requested permission to withdraw, claiming their vessels had critical malfunctions. Kethfer knew the truth. His fleet was being defeated by an enemy less than 1/6 their size. The final blow came when Commander Williams piloted the Shadowhawk directly through the shields of the Infinite Wisdom and landed in the flagship's main hangar bay. Her Marines quickly secured the hangar while she walked calmly to the bridge where Admiral Kethfar waited with his staff. Admiral Williams said politely, "Captain, Morrison sends his compliments and wonders if you would like to continue this demonstration or if you have seen enough of human capabilities." Kethfer looked at the young human officer standing confidently on his own bridge, surrounded by his elite guards. She showed no fear, and her hand rested casually on a weapon that could probably kill everyone in the room. Behind her, the sounds of battle continued as human forces systematically dismantled his fleet. Commander Williams, the alien admiral, said slowly, "I believe we have seen quite enough. Please inform Captain Morrison that I request an immediate ceasefire to discuss terms." Williams smiled and activated her communicator. "Captain, this is the Shadowhawk. Admiral Kethfer would like to negotiate." Morrison's voice came back immediately. "Very good, Commander. Admiral Kethfer, please order your remaining ships to stand down. We have much to discuss." The battle ended as quickly as it had begun. Zorathi ships stopped firing and pulled back to safe distances. Human vessels took up defensive positions but did not pursue the retreating aliens. The demonstration was complete. The Zorathi had learned that numbers alone could not defeat human determination and innovation. Now both sides would discover whether they could find a better way forward than endless war. 3 days after the battle ended, both fleets maintained a careful distance while establishing a neutral zone for negotiations. Captain Morrison took a small shuttle to meet Admiral Kethvar aboard a Zorathi diplomatic vessel that had arrived from the collective capital. D.R. Rodriguez accompanied him as translator while Commander Williams provided security. The interior of the Zorathi ship was unlike anything the humans had seen. The corridors were wide and curved with soft lighting that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Everything was designed for beings much taller than humans, with long, graceful limbs and large eyes adapted for dim light. The aliens had clearly evolved on a different type of world. Admiral Kethvar waited in a circular chamber with several other Zorathi officials. The alien leader looked older and more tired than he had during the battle. His dark eyes studied the human visitors with a mixture of respect and curiosity that had not been there before. "Captain Morrison," Kethvar said through the translation system, "I must admit that the collective seriously underestimated your species. We believed humans were dangerous because of your violent history, but we did not expect such tactical brilliance and high technological innovation." Morrison took a seat at the curved table and looked directly at the alien admiral. "Admiral Kethvar, we appreciate your honesty. Humans are indeed capable of violence when threatened, but we prefer cooperation when possible. Perhaps both our species made wrong assumptions about each other." Dr. Rodriguez facilitated the conversation carefully, making sure every nuance was translated correctly. The negotiations that followed revealed surprising truths about both civilizations that neither had expected to learn. The Zorathi collective had indeed maintained peace across their region of space for thousands of years, but that peace had come at a price. The aliens had become cautious and predictable, following the same patterns for so long that they had stopped growing and learning. Their technology was advanced, but had not improved significantly in centuries. We have encountered 17 emerging species over the millennia, Kethva explained. In each case, we offered guidance and protection. Most accepted and became peaceful members of the collective. A few refused and destroyed themselves through war and environmental damage. You are the first to demonstrate both advanced technology and the military skill to resist our oversight. Commander Williams asked the question that had puzzled the human delegation. Admiral, why did the collective assume humans would be grateful for restrictions on our expansion? Did none of the other species value their independence? The alien officials exchanged glances before Kethver answered. Commander, most species we encounter are afraid of the dangers they might face in space. Pirates, raiders, hostile environments, and other threats make them welcome our protection. We assumed humans would feel the same way. Dr. Rodriguez realized the fundamental difference between human and Zorathi psychology. Admiral, I think the problem is that humans see dangers as challenges to overcome, rather than threats to avoid. When you offered to protect us from the galaxy, we heard you saying, "We are too weak to protect ourselves." The breakthrough in understanding came when Morrison explained human history to the alien delegation. He told them about humans exploring dangerous oceans, discovering new continents, and eventually traveling to other planets despite the risks. Every time humans had faced a barrier, they had found ways to overcome it or go around it. The Zorathi way of maintaining peace through control makes sense for your species, Morrison said. But humans need freedom to grow and learn. We make mistakes, but we learn from them. We face dangers, but we become stronger. Your protection would make us safe, but it would also make us less than we could be. Kethvar listened carefully and began to understand why the human response had been so different from other species. Captain Morrison, are you saying that humans actually want to face the dangers of galactic exploration rather than avoid them? Exactly, Morrison replied. We know there are hostile species and dangerous phenomena out there. We want to meet them and learn how to deal with them. We cannot do that if we stay locked in our solar system forever. The negotiations continued for days as both sides worked to find common ground. The Zorathi had a genuine desire to maintain galactic peace, but they were beginning to realize that their methods might not work with humans. The humans wanted to explore and expand, but they did not want to destabilize. The peaceful order the collective had built, Dr. Rodriguez, proposed the solution that would change everything. What if humanity became a partner rather than a subject of the collective, she suggested. Human innovation and adaptability could help the Zorathi evolve, while Zorathi knowledge and resources could help humans expand safely. The idea was revolutionary. The collective had never had an equal partner, only subjects who accepted guidance or enemies who were defeated. But the battle had proven that humans could not be easily defeated, and the negotiations showed they could not be easily controlled. Kethver consulted with the collective leadership through quantum communicators. The debates that followed lasted for weeks as alien philosophers and strategists tried to understand this new situation. Finally, they reached a decision that surprised everyone. The Zorathi would create a new classification for humanity. Instead of becoming protected subjects, humans would become independent, partners with full autonomy to explore and expand while maintaining cooperative agreements with the collective. It was unprecedented, but so was humanity's demonstration of capability and determination. Captain Morrison, Kethver, said when the negotiations resumed, "The collective has decided to offer humanity something we have never offered before: full partnership with complete independence. You may explore wherever you wish and expand as you see fit. In return, we ask only that you share your discoveries and help us learn from your innovations." Morrison felt a weight lift from his shoulders. This was better than he had dared hope when the fleet left Earth. Admiral Kethver, on behalf of humanity, I accept your offer. We look forward to a long friendship between our species. The Proxima Accords were signed by both civilizations, creating frameworks for cooperation technology, exchange, and mutual defense. For the first time in Zorathi history, they had an ally, rather than a subject. For the first time in human history, they had access to galactic civilization without giving up their freedom. The agreement would open new horizons for both species in ways neither could imagine. 1 year after the signing of the Proxima Accords, Admiral Kane stood on the observation deck of Luna base watching the triumphant return of the First Fleet, the ships that had left Earth as in desperate gamble came home as heroes who had secured humanity's future among the stars. President Murphy joined her to welcome the crews who had changed the course of human history. The Liberty led the formation as it approached Earth orbit. Captain Morrison had been promoted to Admiral for his success in dealing with the Zorathi. His ship now carried both human and alien crew members, working together to explore regions of space that neither species could have reached alone. Commander Williams brought the Shadowhawk alongside, carrying the first Zorathi ambassador to Earth. The alien diplomat was eager to see the human homeworld and learn about the species that had so completely surprised the collective. Cultural exchange programs were already being planned that would benefit both civilizations. Dr. Rodriguez had become Earth's first ambassador to the Zorathi collective and was establishing permanent offices in the Proxima Centauri system. Her translation protocols had enabled real-time communication between dozens of species within the collective, earning humanity a reputation as natural diplomats and facilitators. The base that humans built in the Proxima system served multiple purposes. It was a diplomatic embassy where representatives from many species came to meet the newest members of galactic civilization. It was also a launching point for joint exploration missions that combined human adaptability with Zorathi systematic analysis. Colonel Barnes commanded the new Joint Defense Force, where human and Zorathi soldiers trained together to protect both species from external threats. The combination of human tactical flexibility and alien technological resources had already deterred 3 separate pirate groups from attacking collective territory. On Earth, the benefits of the partnership were transforming human civilization. Zorathi medical technology had eliminated most diseases, while their energy systems provided clean power for the entire planet. Environmental restoration projects using alien knowledge were healing damage that humans had thought permanent. The changes went far beyond technology. Contact with a peaceful galactic civilization had unified humanity in ways that centuries of war and diplomacy had failed to achieve. Nations that had been enemies for generations worked together on space projects and cultural exchanges. Morrison stood on the bridge of the Liberty, which now served as a mobile command center for joint human Zorathi operations. His ship regularly carried mixed crews on missions to explore unknown regions of the galaxy. The partnership had proven more successful than either species had dared hope. Not today brought exciting news. Long-range sensors had detected signals from the Andromeda Galaxy, indicating another intelligent civilization. Unlike the peaceful messages from the Zorathi, these signals contained mathematical challenges and what appeared to be boasts about military capabilities. Admiral Commander Williams reported from her sensor station. The signals are definitely artificial, and they seem to be directed at this galaxy rather than being internal communications. Someone in Andromeda is trying to get our attention. Dr. Rodriguez analyzed the signal patterns from her linguistics station. The mathematics are extremely advanced, but there are aggressive overtones in the structure. Whoever sent these messages wants us to know they consider themselves superior. Morrison consulted with Admiral Kethvar, who was aboard the Liberty as part of the joint command structure. The Zorathi had detected the same signals and were concerned about their implications. This was exactly the type of situation where human and alien perspectives could complement each other. Admiral Morrison, Kethver said thoughtfully, "The collective has maintained peace in this galaxy for millennia, but we have always wondered what lay beyond our borders. These signals suggest that Andromeda contains civilizations very different from ourselves." Morrison nodded as he studied the data. The signals showed mathematical sophistication that rivaled anything humans or Zorathy had achieved, but they also contained clear challenges and what appeared to be warnings to stay away from Andromeda space. "Admiral Kethver," Morrison replied. "This sounds like exactly the kind of problem that requires both human courage and Zorathy wisdom to solve. Perhaps it is time to show these Andromedans what our partnership can accomplish." The response from both species was immediate and enthusiastic. Human crews volunteered for the long journey to another galaxy, while Zorathy scientists prepared their most advanced ships for the expedition. The combination of human jump drive technology and Zorathy navigation systems made the impossible journey feasible. 6 months later, a joint fleet departed for Andromeda, carrying representatives of 12 different species from the collective, along with the best that humanity had to offer. The ships were equipped with both diplomatic equipment and advanced weapons. Since no one knew what they would find in the distant galaxy, Morrison commanded the expedition from the Liberty, while Kethvar provided strategic advice and cultural expertise. The journey would take several months, even with the fastest ships available, but the potential rewards were enormous. First contact with an entirely different galactic civilization could transform both the Milky Way and Andromeda as the fleet prepared to jump toward the distant galaxy. Morrison reflected on how much had changed since the Zorathy first contacted Earth. Humanity had gone from facing an ultimatum demanding submission to leading a joint expedition to explore new frontiers. The lesson learned at Proxima Centauri had proven its worth again and again. When faced with demands for surrender, the best response was not words but actions. That demonstrated who you really were. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy not as supplicants, seeking approval, but as equals demanding respect. The final scene showed the joint fleet activating their jump drives and disappearing into the space between galaxies. Behind them, the Milky Way continued its ancient rotation, carrying both human and Zorathy worlds in peaceful orbit. Ahead lay Andromeda with its billions of stars and unknown civilizations. Whatever they found there, they would face it together, as partners and friends. The galaxy had proven vast enough for all who chose to explore it, but not large enough for those who would deny others their freedom among the stars. The message Earth had sent to the Zorathy was now being carried to new frontiers where other species would learn that humanity and its allies could not be intimidated or controlled. The age of human expansion had begun, and it would not end until every star in every galaxy knew that some species were born to be free,